What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. And yo, I missed y'all, but I had to have a mental health day. So I'm back. We got a lot to discuss. Hit that like button because I've been having a lot of conversations, majority off the record conversations with a lot of people in the Diddy orbit. A lot of people are very, very nervous to talk, but they talk. So we got to talk about some things. Hit that like button as the intro plays.
Make it make sense. Could somebody please make it make sense?
Person I follow, what is it called? Make It Make Sense. There's a little guy, Make It Make Sense.
Are you being nice tonight?
A great media outlet, make that make sense. Okay. Shout out to Mr. Make It Make Sense.
Make it make sense. You know what was up.
Big moves. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
You like my voice?
Yeah, it's cool.
Huh?
It's cool.
It turn you on?
I'm sorry?
It turn you on?
No.
Well, what about now?
888 says, Mims, can you put your context to Carlos on the entry? He just shouted me out on one of his videos. He wasn't sure if I was pro Carlos or not, and so he was just trying to be funny. I think making like a Nene face. He probably knew it was gonna get on the intro. I don't know, but I have no beef with Carlos. Maybe one day we'll work together on something. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, no beef there. Before he started doing these interviews, I don't know how much he watches me, but I was the one that was like, that's really where you're like, that's your gift, that's your talent, pulling that kind of stuff out of people. So I'm very proud to see where his channel has grown to. But anyway, let's get into this foolishness real quick. I'm so tired of people who do not know what the term accountability is. We're going to do this real quick. Speaking of Carlos, good tie-in.
Points to match my crime. That's all. Don't overly sentence me because of who I am and because you feel like I should be held to a higher standard, because the criminal system is not made for that. The criminal system is supposed to be blind, where you're basing things off of what you see on paperwork, what you see the person did, what you see if the person had a history of doing this, if the person has done this before. And it just makes me, I never understood it. We talk so much.
Okay, first off, you're just a kind of basketball wife. Secondly, girl, you did all these things. She asked the judge if she could be, if she could start her sentence after the holiday so she could spend it with her child. But she wasn't thinking about the child when she was committing the crimes. Like, she's upset because she feels like they made an example out of her.
Much about Black men in our society and how the police or how the legal system really triggers them or isn't made for us, but it's not made for Black people in general. Women, men, it doesn't matter. Like,
I want to say I do feel as though Black people do receive harsher sentence. We have seen all kinds of things where Black people are, not protected. However, in this situation, you stole, lady. I don't know what else to say. You were found guilty of the crime. I don't get it.
And I never understood it until I sat in it and watched it happen to me, if that makes any sense. We see people like, I come from a community.
The request is reasonable.
where I have a lot of people that went to jail for selling drugs, or maybe they shot somebody, or, they look at these things as terrible because they are things that are horrible for our community. But when we look at, people who do things that are nonviolent, we look at, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to, but I want my consequence.
So again, it's one of those things where I do agree with her to some extent, but that's not what I was looking for in this interview. I thought that she was really just going to take full accountability and everything. Good luck, British. I'm sad that your daughter is not going to have a mom. And according to her, her dad, she was really like British's baby daddy really is not all that great. So I'm sorry that the daughter's going to have to go through this, but ma'am, okay. So let's get into this. I saw this where the Jasmine brand claimed that Diddy's lawyer wants to unmask basically the newest alleged victim. Let me put the banner up. Now, y'all, when I saw this, I can pull records, and I went through all of like the docket and everything, and I didn't see it. So I reached out to an attorney. So basically, what Diddy is asking is that the woman be named. The other two people, Liza and Joy, are named, but he's now making the alleged victim jump through hoops and submit new court documents saying her, privacy does need to be protected. So we're going to go through this really quick. And then I have some stuff that we need to get to on why I think that this Cassie has really got the short end of the stick in a lot of this. Media mogul Diddy is fighting one of his assault accusers who are attempting to keep her name from the public eye. Reportedly, several motions have been filed in this case involving the musician allegedly taking advantage of a 17-year-old girl, including back and forth arguments as to whether or not the plaintiff's identity should be revealed. Legal affairs journalist Megan Kunoff, who, again, we'll talk about her in a little bit later, because she's been all over Tory Lane's neck in the Megan Thee Stallion stuff. Tory has even attacked her physical appearance. I have the documents. So basically, let me show you. She's having to prove to the court, it's her burden of proof to stop her identity from being revealed. So the lawsuit involves claims arising from defendant Sean Combs, Harv Pierre, and the third assailant, the third assailant is interesting because the victim does know who the assailant is. It wasn't just like a security guard that's unnamed, but I think that this legal person that I spoke to believes that that third assailant is being given the opportunity to come out against the other two. The other two are the bigger names. So they are not naming this person. Should that person come forward and turn, then they will leave them as an unidentified person. So more than likely, the third person is somebody with some notoriety. They just weren't the CEO of Bad Boy, i.e. Puffy, or the president of the company, i.e. Harvey, or whatever his name is. So, okay, I told you guys I was going to be coming out swinging. He wants her name revealed big time, and I'll tell you why after we read this. Plaintiff alleges that when she was 17 years old and in the 11th grade, she met them at the lounge in Michigan. They flirted. I'm kind of paraphrasing because we already went through this, but she's having to do this over again in a new motion in order to protect herself. Because of the egregious nature of what happened, plaintiff filed this lawsuit under the pseudonym of Jane Doe. There's no prejudice to defendants if plaintiff is permitted to pursue her claims as Jane Doe and is required. Counsel for the plaintiff confidentially disclosed her name to the counsel for the defendant. So they know who she is. It's not like, they have not seen the pictures. They don't know what her name is. But if she is going as Jane Doe, then their lawyers cannot discuss it. They cannot come out and say this person is a liar. right? Oh, we got a Classy. Thank you so much for joining the membership. I appreciate you. And Kimmy Nicole, good morning. We need a SS Discord meal. Maybe we do need some stuff. Okay. Thank you so much, Kimmy. I appreciate you as always. But guys, we're putting on our thinking caps here. There's more reasons as to why he wants her unnamed. So, blah, blah, blah. Because of the high profile nature of the defendants, compounded with the fact that the plaintiff was only 17 years old at the time of the assault alleged in the complaint, she should be permitted to proceed under a pseudonym and pursue her claims with anonymity. For these reasons, it is imperative that Ms. Doe be permitted to proceed anonymously. So, guys, you're asking the question, why is it such a big deal? If her name is disclosed, then people will come out of the woodwork. Oh, I know her. Oh, she used to do this. She went to jail for this. She committed this fraud. People will come out of the woodworks in ways that you don't even know. So it makes it easier for her to be discredited in the public eye. Are you following? If they do that, then anything that this woman has done from the time she was 17, who else she might have dated, anything else that she did will be used against her in the court of public opinion, to the point where, because she seems like she is like small town fry, right? It's not like she had a name or she knew Jodeci like the other victim or she was in the business. This person is not anybody who is big. So anything that comes out will be used against her. And then if it does come to trial, because Diddy is not settling at this point, if it does come to trial, then it'll be really hard to get peers of hers who don't know the stories. If she has done anything in her life, it's going to give her the scarlet letter. Exactly. They want to slander and discredit the victim. So I couldn't see where Diddy had filed anything, but that's where Megan comes in. Megan is the kind of attorney or legal analysis reporter who can make these phone calls and find out what was said. So apparently, this was a phone call made like, hey, we want to keep this anonymous. Nope, we don't want it. So then the burden falls on the victim to start filing these things. That's why there was no motions from Diddy's attorneys. It's because this stuff is through email, through a telephone call. But Diddy wants this person unnamed. And it's my belief that the victim should be protected. When I talked to the attorney, she feels as though the victim has done enough. I went through all the court documents with her. The victim has done enough. It would be very weird for the judge to say, we need to unmask this person. Do I think he did it? It's just my personal opinion that Diddy is finally getting his comeuppance. And, you know, I have to say that Diddy has denied all of these allegations. But in my eyes, from my point of view, I believe the victims. I'm sorry. I believe the victims. And I think that she needs to remain unnamed. There's no point. There would be no point. Diddy has her name. So if he wants to do all this for the court case, which I highly doubt he will take this to trial, I highly doubt he'll take it to trial. Just, you know, protect her at all costs. I don't think this woman has a lot of money or anything like that to go up against the likes of Diddy. And yes, I know Dame came out with some stuff. I'm deep diving on that as well. But I wanted you guys to see this because I don't think this was getting enough attention. We do have to work to protect the victims. We got like 1,200 in the chat. Definitely hit that like button. Yes, Diddy already knows who she is. So what's the point? Okay, so I want to get into Cassie and Ryan Leslie. So I let you guys hear an interview with Ryan the other day where he really was stuttering, like stumbling over all of his words as it involves Cassie. And I couldn't really quite figure it out. Like, he's a Harvard educated person who speaks very, very well. But the sheer mention of Diddy and Cassie frightened him. Well, again, people have been coming out of the woodwork, and I'm going to say all of this is alleged, but it's being alleged that Ryan met Cassie before she was technically of age. So in this instance, you have a very young girl who is in the business, technically modeling. She, has some access to the likes of Ryan Leslie, who is older, I think like around 26, maybe, while she is technically underage. Cassie's a very beautiful girl. She could dance. She's not like the strongest singer, but she can, I guess hold a tune. But if you're coming into the industry and right away much older men are interested in you in that way, I do feel as though there's a reason that people are considered minors and adults. And if you're getting into an industry where all of a sudden, men probably always like Cassie because she's very pretty. However, now we're establishing a pattern of very high profile men who are into her. And these are the people who are now going to be in control of your career. So when we look at Cassie, and I know, I get a lot of people, who are upset at my coverage of like the R. Kelly stuff, how my take on it. And it's like, even this new victim who alleges to be under the age of 18 in 11th grade when she got with Diddy and Pierre, I do feel as though kids are kids for a reason. And this particular woman came into an industry where your bosses, all the people who can do anything for you, want you in a intimate way. And what do you do at that point? What do you do? Diddy signed her to a 10-album deal. And you know how many albums they put out? 1. This kid was broken. And again, a lot of my conversations are off the record, but I can tell you this much without betraying anybody's trust. Even the people who knew about the abuse did not know about the alleged abuse in its entirety. And for one of the people, I had to explain to them, don't take any of this on the chin. Oftentimes people who are victimized in this way feel like part of it is their fault. And so they won't tell you because they're embarrassed. So I want to get into this. I want you guys to hear this again, because there's been some things. Cassie had a few intimate leaks in the span of her career. But one thing that I started thinking when I started deep diving on Ryan was Ryan really scared of Diddy when he lost his laptop, or was Ryan scared of what it might have been on the laptop? Ryan lost his laptop like 10, 12, 13, 14. He lost his laptop a long, long time ago. And maybe around like 2009, 2010, I believe, he went from offering $20,000 to $1 million. Now, it is safe to say that his music stuff was on there, but I just want you guys to think he was very nervous to actually talk about Diddy. So let me let you guys see this or hear this when we're talking Cassie, Diddy, Ryan. This is Ryan speaking on Vlad TV.
Respond and say, you know what, homie, I would have a problem with you airing some of that stuff out. But yes, I do believe that there are some specific moments, specific discussions, specific moments in time, specific disputes, specific characters that played into this, played into the dynamic change that has that went down.
Y'all, What's that song? Stutter, stutter. That's not how he speaks. Now, again, I'm just putting some stuff. I want you guys to listen to how he speaks. I found a video of him talking about the laptop, and I'm going to show you guys the video.
If anybody has seen anything or heard anything, please contact us at Ryan Leslie, laptopreturn@gmail.com. We're offering a $20,000 reward for the return of this bag. Thank you.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Ryan Leslie. So I'm outside the Loom nightclub last night. Something very personal, something very special to me was taken. I'm offering a reward of $20,000, but that reward is really not even close to the value of everything that we lost. I come to Germany.
Now, he lost something very intimate in this laptop. I'm offering 20,000. He upped it to $1 million. Then when he got it, he said that stuff had been corrupted on there, so he didn't want to give the person the $1 million. And then the courts made him pay the $1 million. But it's just very interesting how anytime you're talking about Cassie, you'll say you love her, but you will not go into detail at all. And I have spoken to people in the orbit who says that Cassie was very, she was not of age. So y'all, I'm letting you guys connect any of those dots, but that's what's been out there. All these things are alleged. He didn't leave the laptop in the club. He left it in the car outside the club, but he was willing to pay. He said he was going to pay $1 million to get it back. Besides the music, what else could have been on there? Just a thought. It does, in my opinion, lend some credence to Cassie. And yes, people do have free will, but I believe that children are children for a reason, and they do not make necessarily the right decisions. If you're dangling money and a career over somebody's head, and then you're mixing that in with you being into them, just saying. I do feel like there is a certain amount of grooming that went on with this young girl. And then when you allegedly tie in the drugs and everything else that Diddy allegedly introduced into her life, I'm going to side with her. Some people, there have been a lot of y'all in my DMs saying this girl knew what she was doing. This was all a money grab. These are just things that I'm finding out. And I do believe that, I have a niece who was, she's a little bit older now, but at 16, 17, she wasn't thinking about outcomes. Now, was she getting on a private jet? No, but I know a lot of young people who would get on a private jet. I know a lot of people used to sneak out the house to go do whatever. The thing is, if you're doing that with somebody your own age, you're assuming your own liability. When you're doing it with somebody who's 10, 15, 20 years older than you, then I think you are the minor and they should have known better. Just saying. We got to get on Offset. I told you guys it was going to be a whole day. I took a day off, but even in my day off, I was still deep diving. So if you haven't heard, the newest thing now is Offset's mom is being sued. And people are like, oh my God, that's so awful. Why would somebody sue Offset's mom? Well, Offset was in a case before he passed away. That case was dismissed. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if the case was dismissed, it is what it is. Not necessarily. That was a criminal case. See, people get very upset with Cassie because they're like, oh, well, Cassie wasn't really trying to make him face any criminal, charges. It was all civil. In this instance, Takeoff's accuser did want to file criminal, but the LA passed on that. You can still go after civil, which would be, think about OJ's situation. In his criminal case, he was found not guilty. I meant Takeoff. What did I say? My bad. I spent 2 hours at the gym this morning, y'all. I'm gonna work on that. Somebody sent me a message and was like, I'm gonna join your channel after you be getting these names right. I said, I'm gonna work on it. That was funny to me. Takeoff. So anyway, think about OJ. OJ's initial case was criminal. He got off. But then Nicole's family got 10 million in the civil. So you can be found not guilty criminally, but then be found liable civilly. So I wanted to point that out. And then to show you guys this. Takeoff pursued for assault lawsuit despite his death, and his mom could be liable. Why is the mom liable? Because the mom is the executor of his estate. So it's not like she's per se suing the mother, but if all of Takeoff's money has now gone to the mom, then the only way she can be made whole if she is successful in her case is to sue the mom. So I don't know if you guys knew exactly what allegedly happened. So I pulled it. We're not going to review everything, but I'm just going to let you know what they are alleging happened. On June 22nd, 2020, at approximately 7 p.m., let me see if you guys can see this. Make it bigger. Plaintiff was invited by Daryl McPherson, here and after referred to as Darrell. Loud music was playing and several individuals were present. Defendant Takeoff arrived sometime later. During this time, plaintiff saw a pow sitting on a table. Several times throughout the evening, plaintiff noticed defendant Takeoff staring at her, which made plaintiff extremely uncomfortable. Later that evening, defendant Takeoff began talking to plaintiff and offered her some smoke. Plaintiff felt uncomfortable and left the conversation. Plaintiff approached Darrell and informed him she had no desire to engage in any sort of intimate relationship with defendant Takeoff, and that defendant Takeoff made her feel uncomfortable. Darrell offered to take plaintiff upstairs to Darrell's room. While plaintiff and Darrell were walking upstairs together, they encountered defendant Takeoff, who was coming down the same staircase. Defendant Takeoff became irate with Darrell, and an argument between the two ensued. Fearful and uncomfortable with the situation, plaintiff continued upstairs alone, while defendant Takeoff continued to argue with Darrell. Plaintiff entered Darrell's bedroom and laid on the bed. Shortly thereafter, the door of the bedroom opened and defendant Takeoff walked in. Defendant Takeoff began touching plaintiff's butt. Now, I guess I should say trigger warning. At this point, trigger warning. This is interesting, though, because if you knew Darrell and them are arguing, and Darrell was taking you upstairs to his room to talk to you, and after the argument, only Takeoff comes in, yikes. Plaintiff clearly and unevocably refused defendant Takeoff's advances and stated to defendant Takeoff that she did not want to have, with him. Notwithstanding plaintiff's express refusal, defendant Takeoff grabbed plaintiff, flipped her over face down, and pulled down her clothing. Defendant Takeoff then proceeded to have his way with her from behind without plaintiff's consent. After defendant Takeoff finished taking advantage of the plaintiff, he immediately left the room. After recovering from the initial shock of what had transpired, plaintiff promptly walked out of the bedroom and immediately left. Plaintiff sought medical care at a nearby hospital that same day, where hospital staff observed physical evidence of forceful R-word and notified the Los Angeles Police Department of the same and notified the police department. So that's what she alleges happened. Just because you pass away does not mean that your estate is not liable for a civil lawsuit. Marie says, in my opinion, lawsuits are all about the come up. Allegations are way in the past, not discounting if they did happen, but these women coming for the bag. I'm a fervent believer you got to pay me for my pain. Aston says, I don't believe it. Okay. Crystal says it's up to the adult to say no. Claire says not unbelievable. So I'm interested for the people who do not believe her, because in this situation, I have not done enough personal research to give you guys. I can only give you what the allegations are. I haven't heard of any other situation where anyone accused Takeoff of that. If the woman sought criminal charges at first, does that not give her any credibility? Just a thought. Especially for people in the replay gang, you guys can put that in there too. We got like 2,000 people in the chat. Where are we at on likes, guys? We only got like 500 likes. Please hit that like button. It's a free way to support the channel. They have started age restricting your boys' content. Sometimes YouTube plays with me. Sometimes they'll demonetize my stuff. Sometimes they'll age restrict it. But it's okay, because we're here. We're talking about it. We're having a good time. So we'll see how this plays out. The mom sued the venue where Takeoff was unalived for like $1 million for negligence, but that's normal. Anytime something happens to anybody, you can go after the insurance of wherever it happened. Was this reported when he was alive? Yes. He just passed away during the time that it was going on. I hate to have an opinion on this when he's gone. Yeah, so we are actually on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So if you are watching and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. There was one other thing though. We're talking Megan. Okay. Y'all, the Megan Thee Stallion stuff. I'm really interested to see where y'all fall on this, because there's a lot of Megan fans. There's a lot of Tory fans. Why would this man come forward now? The case is over. Where were you? Just like Megan's bodyguard who went into hiding. Where were you? So this is now Tory's, I think he's the driver, Jaquan Smith, has come in now, and this is what he's saying. Shout out to the Uncut. Dope blog. Definitely follow them on Instagram. It says, I was the driver and bodyguard of Mr. Daystar Peterson, who is better known as Tory Lanez, in July of 2020. Mr. Peterson has been known to me for 7 years. At the time of the incident, I had worked for Mr. Peterson for 3 years. He has not only been my employer, but I also consider him to be my close personal friend. Where was this close personal friend when the actual trial was going on? Where was the close personal friend, y'all? Let me take this off. We don't believe him. That's what I want to know. On July 12, 2020, I was asked to drive Mr. Peterson to the home of Kylie Jenner, where Miss Megan Pete and Kelsey Harris were present. Mr. Peterson was at Miss Jenner's home for approximately 2 hours when I received a call to come pick up Miss Pete and Miss Harris. Miss Pete and Miss Harris and myself left Miss Jenner's home, but I was asked by Miss Pete to return because she stated that she had forgotten a shoe. When we arrived at Miss Jenner's home at this time, Miss Harris stayed in the car while Miss Pete exited. Miss Pete did not enter the home at this time, as she went around the back to the pool area where Mr. Peterson was located. Both Miss Pete and Mr. Peterson returned to the car after a few minutes. Miss Pete was bickering, but I'm unsure of the exact words she was saying. She seemed upset. The four of us left Miss Jenner's residence. As I began to drive, Miss Pete started to fight with Mr. Peterson. They were going back and forth. I remember Mr. Peterson saying to Miss Pete that he was going to tell Miss Harris what was going on. I do not remember which street we were on, but Miss Pete asked me to stop the vehicle. I did as she asked, and Miss Pete went to sit on a nearby bus stop. Can y'all imagine Megan sitting at the bus stop shoeless? And I think she even had on like a thong, right? Mr. Peterson went and spoke with Miss Pete. After about 2 minutes, they returned to the car and I began driving again. Miss Pete started the argument again, and Miss Harris asked what was going on. Mr. Peterson told her that he and Miss Pete had been dating and intimate. Miss Harris was upset by this, as she and Mr. Peterson had been dating in the same manner. prior to any relationship with Miss Pete. Miss Pete and Miss Harris began fighting. I pulled over to stop them. Miss Pete and Miss Harris both got out of the vehicle and continued to fight verbally and physically. I broke up this fight and was pulling Miss Pete towards the back of the car. Now, where was Tori while you're breaking up the fight? You then got out the car and had time to come and break up the fight. Where was Tori? I saw Miss Harris with a pow in her hand. Mr. Peterson ran from behind Miss Pete and myself toward Miss Harris. Mr. Peterson and Miss Harris began struggling as Mr. Peterson tried to unarm Miss Harris. I was still pulling Miss Pete and did not see who piled the weapon. I was lucky I was not harmed, and in my opinion, Miss Pete was also fortunate. The whole incident happened so quickly within just a couple of minutes. I saw Miss Harris with a pow in her hand. Mr. Peterson ran from behind Miss Pete and myself toward Miss Harris. Mr. Peterson and Miss Harris began struggling as Mr. Peterson tried to unarm Miss Harris. I was still pulling Miss Pete and did not see who powed the weapon. I was lucky I was not harmed, and in my opinion, Miss Pete was also fortunate. The whole incident... Okay, why are you repeating that, sir? I wanted to present this evidence during Mr. Peterson's trial, but was prevented from doing so as the district attorney was not ready to cross-examine me. And later, they did not call me due to the holidays and the court schedule. I believe I should have been allowed to present this evidence at trial. I'm hearing payoff. Just my opinion, I'm hearing payoff. You were the close personal friend, the employee, but I know not everybody believes Megan, because she definitely did lie about what she was doing with Tori. Just saying. I don't believe it. And what kind of attorney did Tori have if you had a smoking gun like this? Now I'm sitting here really thinking about this. If this was not in evidence, like, this is crazy to me. Like, that is absolutely crazy to me, y'all. I don't believe it. But I mean, I'm sure some of you guys will believe it, because Tori, he definitely has a fan base. He just released some new music. I saw his fans really liked it. They were calling him, a genius. I don't believe it, y'all. I don't believe it. But Tori might use this to, I don't know. I'll have to talk to an attorney. Do you guys want me to ask that attorney to come back? I did some work with an attorney a couple weeks ago who answered questions regarding the first couple Diddy cases. I could either call him back, or I might be able to have Simone from Girl Is That Legal. You might have seen her recently. She went viral with her take on the Diddy case. Let me know if you guys want the attorneys to come back on. And what they do is they'll answer your questions. More often than not, when I speak to the attorneys who either I'm paying or whatever, they have already answered these questions for me. But okay, so y'all are saying yes. I believe him. Okay. I knew some people would believe him. Yes. Okay, so y'all want me to get the attorneys. Okay, I'll see if I can get the attorneys to come on within the next couple of days. I am affiliated with Pam Esquire as well. We talked months ago about her coming on my channel. I do think she's pretty busy, but I could definitely ask Pam if she wants to come on and talk to you guys. Or maybe I could get a few different attorneys. Like, what if we have a panel of attorneys and they have like legal back and forth? Would that be kind of dope? Let me know. Yes, we need all the lawyers. Okay. All right. Well, guys, I'm gonna be doing some more deep dives. I have some things to do today, but I'll definitely be coming back. I have not forgotten about my Potomac review. We had a good old time. Let's see. It says, look There's a tweet from journalist Nancy Dillon where Metzlin said Jaquan was prepared to say he nor Kelsey did it. Okay. I'll talk to Pam. Maybe we could do that. But okay, guys, you guys have a good day. I have some more Diddy stuff to work on. But again, these people have been coming out of the woodwork, talking to me about personal stuff that happened years ago. And I'm talking dating back to like 2000. So I'll keep you guys posted. Have a great day. Hit that like button on your way out and definitely subscribe if you are not subscribed. Have a good day, y'all.